Hello everyone, today I'm here to do a mashup review. So if you don't know, mashup reviews on my channel are where I take 3 recent reads, I try to put them all within the same genre. Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't work out. Luckily for this video, it does work out because I'm going to be talking about 3 adult contemporary romantic reads. So always with my mashup reviews, I keep them spoiler free. I tell you what the book is about, what I rated it, and what I thought about it. If you're interested in only 1 or 2 books in particular, I leave timestamps down below for you to jump ahead to see that book. The books I will be talking about today are Happiness for Beginners by Katherine, You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle, Any Honey Don't List by Christina. Let's get into it. So the first book I'm talking about is the only backlist book I have, and that is Happiness for Beginners by Katherine. I have read 2 Katherine Center's books before, 2 of her most recent ones. I didn't really like How to Walk Away, but I really loved Things You Save in the Fire, and I learned that she has a slew of backlist books, and this one really intrigued me the most, hence why I read it. This book is all about Helen Carpenter, who is 32 and divorced, and she's really looking for happiness. She feels lonely and sad, and she decides that she's going to go on this wilderness retreat. I don't know exactly what to call it. It's like a summer, survival course where she has to go with a whole bunch of other people in like this remote mountain range. Like, it's pretty intense, and she decides, you know, that's going to be the thing that's going to spark her happiness again. And unbeknownst to her, her younger brother's best friend is going with her, apparently. And she doesn't really know him. He's 10 years younger than her, as a matter of fact, but he's had a crush on her for like forever. So, you know, romance happens, things happen. The whole book is called Happiness for Beginners because he's trying to find happiness, you know, again. Overall, I gave this book a 3 out of 5. I really wanted to love it. In fact, it was on my 5-star predictions video, where that means is I really thought I was going to give this book a 5 out of 5. The premise sounded amazing. A woman trying to find herself after a divorce with survival and wilderness. I was like, this sounds amazing. But it wasn't. It was just okay. I would say this really leans heavily towards the romance, which I don't have a problem with because we all know I love romantic books. But the romantic relationship was just in this book. It didn't bother me that they were 10 years apart. My husband and I are 7 years apart, for goodness sake. I don't think that matters really, but it just wasn't really realistic, I don't think. It was like an instant thing where he's been pining her for years and she's just like, okay, I guess. And it just wasn't like, I don't feel like they connected well. They didn't really have opportunities to connect, and it was just very surface level romance, in my opinion. I wanted a little bit more depth, and Helen herself as a character, she's kind of harsh, she's kind of moody. I know she's going through a divorce, but she does have some growth towards the end. But overall, I just really didn't love this book, and I really wanted to because I don't like wilderness a ton. Like, I like going outside and everything, but hiking and stuff, that's not my forte, but I love reading about it. But I would say if you just really, really love wilderness books and hiking books and take anything you can get, I would check out this one. But sad to say, I just didn't love it. It was just okay, but I still really enjoy Katherine Center's writing, and I still want to try to read all of her books, even though the majority of them sound quite sad. I definitely want to check them out. So yeah, middle of the road book. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, just kind of in the middle of the road, which is okay. Next book is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. This is an adult rom-com, chick lit, whatever you want to call it. This is a debut novel, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So this book, we follow a character named Naomi, and she's engaged to Nicholas Rose, and you know, their relationship started really good. It was picture perfect, love-dove, all that kind of lovey-dovey, all that kind of stuff. But then when they get engaged, things kind of change. They move in together for the first time. They never moved in with like another person before, and she just learns that maybe she really doesn't love Nicholas. He's not the guy that she thought that he was. And not only that, his family is very, very wealthy, and his parents are footing the bill for their wedding, so she's feeling kind of awful about that. And truth is, she wants out of this, you know, engagement, but she knows she can't because that she's gonna have to foot the bill for the wedding and stuff. And Nicholas is also kind of sick for her. They have a really rocky relationship. And then finally, when she confides in Nicholas that, you know, she doesn't want to get married, she doesn't like him. He's like, you know, I've been seeing you just slowly detach away from our relationship, and it's heartbreaking. And, you know, they start like this war of like pranks and stuff like that. Then they grow to be friends again. Then they grow to fall in love again. So it's kind of like a dissection of a relationship, watching it fall apart and come back together again. So I was very surprised that I love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I wasn't expecting that at all. The reason I gave it 5 out of 5 is because I was constantly thinking about it when I wasn't reading it. I was wondering, are they gonna like love each other enough to patch this up? What's gonna happen next? And I was just so invested in it. So whenever that happens to me with a book, like I'm like, that's a book that's gonna stick with me for a while, and it still has. So that's why I give it a 5 out of 5. I would say if you are a fan of like really, you know, like a dissection of a relationship, learning the ins and outs of it and learning, you know, what each person needs in a relationship, I would recommend this book. I enjoy books like that because I'm in a marriage. Every marriage is totally different. Every relationship is totally different. Every person has different wants and needs than the other person, and I enjoy reading books about that. If you don't, you know, probably skip this one, but you know, they both had a lot of growth they had to come through. Naomi was, she's not the best person. Like, she was very self-centered. She only thought about herself in the relationship. She never thought about the perspective of Nicholas and how he was dealing with this, because he has a very, very overbearing mother. Oh my goodness. But the more they communicate, which is the key word in any relationship, which I read so many books with relationships that communicate is like not a part of their vocabulary apparently. They just, you know, brush it under and let's not ever talk about anything, even though you're getting married. That annoys me. But when they finally learned to communicate, they understood each other so much more and they became, you know, much more in love. So I love this book. I can gush about it. I mean, the reviews have been pretty good, I would say, but you know, I went in this book thinking it was going to be kind of not the best. I'm not gonna lie to you, that happens sometimes. I was looking for a quick, fun, romantic read, which this was, but I just loved watching how this couple really started off poorly, like just loathing each other, and then they became friends and fell in love again. I thought it was just a beautiful book. So yeah, I would recommend it. I really liked it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, so check it out if you want to. And the last book I want to talk about is The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. If you don't know, Christina Lauren are two authors combined into one, Christina and Lauren. They have a whole bunch of adult romantic books, and I've read the majority of them, so I should probably do an author's video on them. If you want that, let me know. This is all about Carrie and James. Now, let me try to explain this for you because it's very, you know, it's kind of interesting. So Carrie and James are both assistants to the Tripps, Melissa and Rusty Tripp, and I picture Melissa and Rusty as Chip and Joanna Gaines because they are like popular with DIY, HGTV, you know, they're the it couple. They've got like books and shows and all that kind of stuff. And their marriage is like picture perfect. Everybody who's anybody wants to be them and have their marriage. But the reality is they can't stand each other. They're putting this all for a front just for publicity and things like that. They were once in love when they first got married, but fame and everything really got to them, and now they're just bitter towards each other. Now, when I say all that, you think the book is about them and maybe their relationship. No, we follow the assistants of these two. So we follow Carrie, who is Melissa's assistant, and we follow James, who is Rusty's assistant, and they both are looking forward to a vacation finally because their jobs are just so grueling and they're having to keep these couple from like literally tearing each other apart because they want to fight all the time. But sadly, they are not off the hook for a vacation because they have to go on this book tour that the Tripps are going on because they're releasing a new book, surprisingly enough, about marriage. Why should these two write a book about marriage? I don't know. So they have to go on this book tour to keep the Tripps at bay, to keep the front going that they're really in love, but they're not. And, you know, secrets are revealed, things like that, and the assistants pretty much fall in love. That's all you need to know. I liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It's not my favorite Christina Lauren book, but I feel like it's a solid one. The way I was going to give it a 3, but then I thought about these two books, and I was like, this one is more memorable, I like the characters more, but I didn't love it, so it got a 4. So, I mean, Christina Lauren books, there's not a ton of depth to them, but they are just a fun, good time. I know I can read them in a couple days. I know I'm going to laugh. I know I'm going to smile. I know I'm going to feel steamy times and things like that. So I would recommend this. As far as my favorite Christina Lauren books to go on, I will do a video on them very, very soon, hopefully. But yeah, I liked it. I'd say if you're a big fan of like DIYs and like behind the scenes couples things and publicity and assistance, check it out. I mean, I don't think you could be steered wrong with Christina Lauren books. There are some that I really don't love, but the majority of them I really do like, and I do like this one. That was my quick review of all 3 of these books. I would love to hear if I convinced you to read any one of these or maybe not, and if you've read any of them, please let me know your thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.